minutes and you're sober, driving all the way frantically.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Pixels of Petrol. I'm going to be doing a full series on this. Let's actually do this properly. I want to do the 15,000 Mile Miata restoration project. Alright, so we have the car here. I've talked about it a couple times now, so you probably already know about it, maybe, depending on how much you watch the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Enjoy. We do a lot of work on sports cars and stuff like that, mainly. But we dive a lot into Miatas. So, we have a gem here. This was I'll call it a barn find at this point. This was definitely abandoned a bit in Florida. So it has serious sun fade. I've gone over it on the previous video. Either we're going to restore these wheels or we will pick a set of wheels. We probably have a set up there that's mint. We always keep stock Miata wheels for restorations. This Miata is very clean. It just needs a good power washing and whatnot. It's not rotted out. I'm actually in the process. I started working on the service for it. I didn't start recording, unfortunately, so I'm gonna get to it. But it's all stock, hasn't been messed with. We have everything in good condition. We have the original cat here. The frame, everything's nice and solid. It's not rotted out. We have some minor scraping here and there. Typical wear and tear from at least using it, but hasn't been used much. But the underside here, very clean. It looks like there's a little bit of overspray here from some sort of touch-up that was done at some point, or if they did it at the factory. I'm not sure. Depends on if they did that, but I doubt they would do it at the factory. I don't know. Someone probably oversprayed. But here, not all rotted out. This is actually really good rear subframe. This is usually the first thing that goes on a Miata. If you guys know Miatas, rear subframes, all this gets rotted out. This is in wonderful shape. You can still see the eccentrics, the stock eccentrics. These normally are the first to go before even the subframe. And you can still see them. And it still has some silver on it, like the gray, the metal. It's like awesome. So this is definitely gonna be a wonderful restoration. It has been sitting, it needs a full one over on her. Thankfully she is getting it. So right now, she's up here. Of course, the famous question is, of course, does she have rockers? Yes, she has rockers, and they are gorgeous. Gorgeous rockers in wonderful shape. Not all bubbled up, rotted out, or anything of the sort. This thing is in fantastic body condition, and you would hope so at 15,000 miles. The tires themselves, good question on the date here. I never checked the date on these yet. See if I can see a DOT on here. Want the e-brake on? Nah, no e-brake. Okay. So let's see. We have a DOT number on here. I know, let's go to the front one. Maybe we'll see it on that. They are BF good bitches. I don't think that's the DOT number, because normally it's in a bracket. But I don't know if it changed over the years, how they did it back then. I would assume they still did the bracket thing. '02. Okay, so these tires are not original. I actually don't know what tires came on this original one, but these are very old. These are '02, so definitely need new tires. But yeah, no, everything in here is in wonderful condition, which is fantastic. I love how clean it is. All the frame and everything is like absolutely beautiful. This is another spot that usually goes bad, is for the sway bars. Especially at the sway bar mounting point to the lower control arm. These lower control arm points rot out pretty bad. They're in fantastic clean condition. It's absolutely just amazing seeing how good condition this is. And you know, people talk shit on like pricings from Miatas and stuff like that, but this is what matters here. It's like this is still silver, metal, gunmetal, like, you know, like it's actually still a part. It's not rotted out. I'll show you a difference on time and time, or if you look at other Miatas I've worked on. Like, this is stellar. Beautiful condition. Absolutely stunning condition. Like, you have a little bit of surface rust here and there. That's cool. You can't avoid that, especially on the coast. But still, like, overall condition-wise, this is mint condition, pretty much. This is fantastic. So we have a little bit of oil leakage on the front here. No big deal. We are doing the seal, and then we'll clean this. They're getting fresh seals. I don't know how the hell you leak those at 15,000 miles. You did that, or someone did some sort of service and leaked it around, but that will get taken care of. We're actually diving into that today. I actually already have the timing belt stuff apart. The radiator is already out. I already drained it out. That's why you see the harness here off to the side. So we are going to get into that just in a moment. So let me get her down, and we are going to continue on with doing the crank seal, cam seals, timing belt service, water pump, all that shindig right there. We have all the parts in finally. Going with the timing belt from Continental. I always recommend my two favorites for timing belts for Miatas are Continental and Gates. Gates is usually my go-to, but Continental is a good second. Gates makes a racing version too if you're ever into performance. But I've seen nothing but good things from Continental as well as got some Continental hoses. Very, very nice quality OEM style radiator hoses. Very good because we want the car to be OEM style as possible, not molested. Doesn't look like it's modified. We want it properly clean and serviced, which is great. So we have all the proper hoses. We have heater core hoses. It's the upper and lower hoses for the radiator because there's a whole shit ton of them. And, you know, the whole works. Thermostat. New belts. Yeah, everything here. New valve cover gasket. So we should be Gucci to finish everything up. So let's get cracking. I'm just going to set up my station here. And, yeah, let's make this 15,000 mile Miata run like an absolute cherry, like she was meant to be, because she is running a little rough. Oh, we are missing one thing. We are missing the fuel filter. I'll have to make sure he gets that. That did not come in. I guess it was missed on the order. Okay, no biggie. That is one thing that's separate from doing all this job anyway, so it's in the back of the car. No big deal. Anyways, let's go on and get cracking on this work, because I am absolutely ecstatic. I'm so excited to see this thing come back, because we are going to not only, of course, do the full service on her, all fresh fluids, all fresh parts and everything, get her running absolutely like a peach, but also she's going to get complete body work done and look mint. And we found her the hardtop that is period correct and color correct for her. So that came in the other day, and I'm super excited as we're going to be able to finally button everything up. And we also have a soft top for her right down there ready for her. So that's also going to fix the soft top issue. So she'll have a good soft top, a good hard top, fresh service on everything, and then fresh bodywork all around. What can you be more excited about? Especially on a 15,000 mile classic Miata restoration. So let's get into it, and let's make this car awesome again. Oh, one thing also, we sort of have him joining with our crew now. It's not permanent in terms of like all the time yet, but you'll see him a lot more and more, especially with the channel and also just doing stuff in general. Zach has joined as our detailer, and there is talks also with him joining to do other stuff as well. So that would be very fun to see Zach around more around the shop. Very much looking forward to that. So we have already him here. He has all his detailing stuff in his box there, but we also already got him a service cart. It is the same service cart that I like to use. These things are good, cheap carts from Harbor Freight. They used to be a lot cheaper. But unfortunately, the cost of materials and inflation has gone through the roof. So they used to be like $30 carts, and now they went up to like $35, and then now they're up to even like $40 for their carts now. Just how it goes with the times. So keep an eye on sales if you're trying to get a cheap cart. I'm probably gonna eventually get like a used Snap-on or a Mako cart. I won't buy new for that shit. Fuck that. But for now, it's just a simple cart. It's more than enough, which is great for it. So, anyways, he'll be able to tote around all his detailing stuff and works from inside and outside the shop, which is fantastic. It's always good to have another person on the crew. So, now that we got that, let's get into work. Oh, also, so going forward, we did have some nice update on the shop. We do have our rotary lift, our nice lift, has been serviced. It's been fixed up. This thing is running like a champ now. It's smoother and also has the hoses replaced. In a year's time, we'll have to replace the cables, but otherwise, at the current moment, it has completely been serviced and is wonderful. The lift over here. This is a, I don't know why they have it in here. It's definitely a home style lift in a shop environment, but that's why this thing is, that's why I had a feeling this thing was an absolute piece of shit. But we're able to adjust the one side to get the locks working on the other side. So we have this bad boy for the locks on this side. At least we have half of it working with locks, but it does have a hydraulic leak as well, and the locks on this side do not work. So we will have to get this side fixed at one point, but at least it's a little bit safer now. It's better than nothing at that point. And it sucks because it's lift on my side. So, because I primarily use the shop, of course, obviously closest to my box. So, at least we have some update on progress with the service of the stuff in the shop. And on top of that, I made a 4-stick executive decision and also got a air compressor dryer system to take the water out of the lines, because we were starting, especially with how hot it was starting to spew water into my air guns, and I don't have the money to replace those right now. They are very expensive, and also one of them is starting to push, like, 14 years old. I've had that one snap-on impact since I pretty much started the game, and I would like to keep it going. I've pretty much had this gun since I started working on cars when I was 18. It was my first major investment, and it has been an absolute champ ever since I started, because I've always taken care of it and always oiled it. I've used it in every single shop I've ever worked at. So, yeah, keeping your air dry is very important, because water can destroy them. So especially recently, I have filled them to the brim with oil just to let them soak in oil, because I was afraid of how much damage the water may have done to my guns. So hopefully they'll be all right. They've been performing okay, so it's something I don't like to sleep on when it comes to that type of stuff. It's like hydro locking your motor or anything like that. It's, it's a cranking system and it creates pressure. So here's what it is. What we should have the system running dry now, hopefully, as long as everything's okay with that. It is kind of a ghetto rig system from Harbor Freight, but it is something that they had that was an older system that they no longer sell as a primary. It's kind of a secondary, because they're clearing it out. And I actually like this style better than what was, what they sell now. But it's the big canister setup, and you can drain out the water out of the bottom. So this thing is also got a regulator on it. You can control the pressure and whatnot. Well, we'll get that fired up probably in a little bit. We don't really need it at the moment. For major stuff, I usually use the air compressor for. So electric is usually for all the other stuff. So I figured it's a nice little shop update, and if everything works out, we should be getting a tire machine soon. And we'll definitely have to redo our space around the shop, especially in the back room, because there's no room for a tire machine in the actual shop itself. It'll have to be in the back room. So we'll see how that goes. We should be getting it hopefully tomorrow. So we'll definitely be doing a video and update on that as we go get it. So check it out. Got some progress done, took a small break, continuing on. I gotten the engine down to the point where it is clean. We have everything buffed up. I cleaned as much oil out and crud. I installed the new cam seals and the new crank seal. Timing is chilling at the top mark for the cams. I just gotta adjust the crankshaft back to TDC in just a minute. Not really a primary concern at the moment because I'm working. About to pop in the water pump. Everything from there is just cleaning button up and then working our way backwards. Once the engine there is been serviced and brought back to its clean working order, then we can start doing stuff like, you know, spark plugs and whatnot. Everything on this is pretty damn clean and pretty wow, in terms of like certain parts I haven't seen in certain conditions in so long, because, you know, a typical Miata low mileage is like 100,000 miles. All right, seeing a Miata with 15,000 miles on it, this is nuts. Like, there's bolts on here that are in good condition that I have never seen in good condition on a Miata. It's pretty cool. It's not every day you get to work on a Miata that has basically its virginity not been taken yet. Like, this is a virgin service. So this is really cool. Even the water pump that was in it, realistically, is not bad. Like, the one that's in here is definitely OEM, and even the bearing in it, the bearing in it is nice. Like, realistically, this water pump can be cleaned up and reused, no problem. Like, it is such a good condition water pump. It's kind of scary. It definitely has not been used very much whatsoever in its entire life. So, really, really cool in that aspect. Gonna go forward. Gonna start slapping some RTV and the gaskets on this water pump. Pop it on in there. Put the thermostat housing, neck, and whatnot back together on there. And then going forward, since we have all the seals done, we can start putting like the cam gears back on and just keep grinding. So I'm gonna change the position on this so you can guys see a different angle now, and get back into the grind. Okay, so far we have made some amazing progress on the Miata tonight. I should be able to have the engine done tonight. I won't be able to finish the other stuff I want to do. I wanted to get the fluids done, which involves the engine, probably the coolant, transmission, excuse me, and the differential all together. I don't think I'll be able to get that done because it is now midnight, and I do want to get home at a reasonable time. So I'll just finish the rest tomorrow after I'm done picking up hopefully the new tire machine. We'll find out. But anyways, what was going on here? There was a lot that involved slowing down tonight because really want to make sure we get this engine as done as possibly as nice as we can. There's still more work to be done to make it even nicer. So the water pump did exactly what happens to all the water pumps. I will show you here. This is for anyone who works on Miatas. This is just something that's unavoidable. I have had 9 times out of 10 this happen, and they usually break. I already know this happens, so I know how to avoid it now. But usually I have them break and I just parts bin. But there are replacement ones that I do get. They're Hillman. I get them usually at Lowe's in the hardware bins. This is M6 1.00 by 12 millimeters. All right. Fucking fly, get off my fucking face. It's the 3 water pump pulley bolts. They tend to stretch. So basically you go from the 69 inch-pounds, and when you hit the second one to 151, it's such a huge jump. That's when you start to feel, when you're going to crank down on it slowly, little by little, you start to feel that the bolt doesn't want to actually hit its torque. It just feels like you still are going and going and going, and it does feel like it's going to snap. Well, that's because it is. It's definitely going to. What it actually starts to do is it starts to stretch, and it stretches to the point until the head just rips off. And then it's very easy to extract technically, like when it breaks, because the water pump pulley, where it mounts to the actual the water pump itself, there's a gap behind it. So once you take it, the pulley back off, then you can get access to the screw very easily to unscrew it. It usually tends to be very easy to screw out. You don't have to go like drilling crazy, but it's something you don't want to run into. It just sucks. It'll waste your time, makes you aggravated. So M6 1.00 by 12 millimeters tends to be the size right here. Easy replacement, just get a good grade. These are class 10 screws, so it's kind of overkill, and that's good. I don't want them to fucking break. I'm tired of these things whenever I'm trying to torque them. So I've been using those for years as my replacements, just to get it done and over with. I wanted to keep this engine as OEM as possible, and OEM looking as possible clean, but unfortunately this is one of those things, these are almost always inevitable going to break. So it's one of those things that's just going to have to be accepted, is replacement bolts for that. I'd rather have it functioning properly than non-functioning and like half-assing it and like setting it to like a lower torque. No, I want to torque to spec and done right. Especially on this motor here, this is going to be completely done over, and she should be all buttoned up now. The timing belt has been done, water pump has been done, thermostat has just been done. So all these little things here, they add up nicely. I just gotta hit spark plugs, finish up the belt orientation, then I can start putting in back in the radiator and whatnot, and the spark plug boots and everything, and should be buttoned up back in the engine bay and good to go with that. And then we can do stuff like fluids, and the fluids we'll do another day. That'll be tomorrow's project, but at least we'll get the engine work done tonight. So this has been a very nice progressive night to get the Miata done. And what's been slow is a lot of cleaning. This motor has been very dirty for the most part on the top, front, and bottom. Even though it's 15,000 miles, it's definitely been a little on the neglected side. So it needs a really good cleanup, and that's what she's getting, because we want this to be really nice. So we are going to finish up here tonight with a little bit more work, and then we're gonna hit the road. So, and then tomorrow will be a nice adventure. So let's finish up the last what we need to do. Okay, so for the night we finished up. I'm just gonna call it here before it gets too late. It's already almost 1 o'clock, about 12, just past 12:30. The engine is pretty much done and together, so I just have to finish minor stuff. I just threw the spark plugs in. Need to do coil pack, put that back up, spark plug wires, and just make sure everything's hooked up there. Put the PCV on. I gotta do plumbing. I'm actually replacing the radiator hoses, so with that, there's just a little bit more time I'm gonna need to go in there because I gotta rip the ones off the side of the engine off, and I gotta take the air box out. So since I have to take some stuff out, I'm just gonna continue that shit tomorrow. But at least the motor is in and done. I threw the radiator in just to have it in and out of the way because I keep fucking tripping on it, and I don't want to break it either because it is a really nice OEM, not rotted radiator. It doesn't have that browning, and it doesn't feel brittle, which is pretty baller considering the fact this car was definitely sun-baked. And when I mean by sun-baked, the valve cover gasket itself was so fucking brittle, it was crumbling. I had to pull it out like piece by piece. That took a little extra time. So that's a good example of sun-baked Miata. As you can tell by the paint and all the peeling and stuff, that's how sun-baked it is. It definitely is a Florida-baked car. But anyways, made some banging progress on this. The engine bay is looking a lot cleaner. The whole front is cleaned up really nicely. The valve cover has been cleaned up nicely. You have to do the intake manifold still. That's no biggie. So at least there was killer progress on everything with that. Tomorrow we are going to do what's hopefully on the itinerary. We should be picking up the new tire machine, and then we should be continuing on with Zach's going to be here. He's going to do some detailing on a red Miata that we also picked up the other day, as well as I will be continuing working on finishing the engine here, finishing the plumbing, everything all together, doing the fluids, and then replacing the soft top. Hopefully all tomorrow, and then this should be hopefully done, and then ready for body work. So that will be exciting because then we can start really transforming this car after the body work's done. I guess Zach will probably finish up with the detailing on it, which would be good because then this car will be mint, throw the hardtop on it, and then, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Really excited about this. The journey of the 15,000 mile Miata is in, I would say we're in progress right now in the restoration. So I'm really excited about this. Like, this is going to be really, really cool when it's done. It is just one of those like labors of love, little piece by piece. Just doing it slowly just because I want to make sure, trying to clean out all the nasty gook and shit is like, that's what's really exhausting and what takes the most time. Surprisingly, I don't know, I guess a seal blue or something at 15,000 miles. The front of the engine was actually a little dirty. I think it's one of the cam seals. I think it was actually the one on the driver's side maybe blown, which is surprising considering the fact that it only has 15,000 miles on it. But I have a feeling one of the cam seals blew, or I don't know, got brittle or something. Considering the fact that the valve cover was completely brittle, there is a good chance of it. It's obviously not as bad as some high mileage Miatas I've dealt with, but it's just surprising on a 15,000 mile Miata. So I definitely think a seal blew, and it just, either that or the valve cover blew and dumped oil down there. Regardless of whatever it was, something of a seal was leaking, and now it's resolved for sure. So now it's been completely cleaned, and all the seals have been replaced, so it should not have any issues anymore with anything leaking. This is a short nose crank. The crank's actually in good condition, and the bolt is super clean. So I made sure I make sure everything was cleaned in there. I threw a long bead of Loctite on that short nose bolt, and then torqued it to spec. Torqued the spec just fine, so hopefully everything will be good. The Loctite will be in assistance with that. So we'll keep this motor running in healthy condition. Hopefully we won't have any issues with it. The Woodruff key was in great shape, so hopefully it stays that way. Yeah. So far so good. I hope you guys join for the next part of the journey of restoring this car. I'm going to try to keep up with this. Trying to do a little bit better now. I know I've had a bad recent hiatus of working on the channel. So there has been delays on uploading stuff. But I'll try to do better. It's just what it is. I missed, unfortunately, an entire rebuild of the Jeep that I was working on. And it's honestly what really threw me in a hiatus. I was really stressed out over that build, and it got really stressful during the build too, because I had a bolt go bad during the whole process, where a bolt on the back of the motor, near the bell housing, completely got seized in, stripped out, and it was in the worst, like the worst accessible spot, where I was running out of all my options. I threw everything I knew from all my years of experience at it. The only thing I could have thought of that I couldn't do because I didn't have it, I don't have extractors, which are basically sockets with like a spiral type thread. It is on my buy list. It's been on my buy list for a long time. It's just I never really need them. Now I need them. If I can run into a situation like that, I really need to buy them. So I'm going to buy them sometime soon. They're really not that expensive. They're just over like $20-something. I really wish I would have had a set that night, because that would have helped out big time. So what we ended up having to do was we cut a hole in the floorboard, right where the transmission was, and I chiseled the living fuck out of it until it started turning. So basically I was chiseling it in a rotational pattern to get it out, and it fought tooth and nail, but we ended up getting it out, which was good. After we got it out, everything was just fine. It was just that bolt. We even had no issues with getting out the E12 bolt, which is, I think it's also, some people call it an M12. It's an E12. It is a reverse Torx bolt, so you need a female Torx socket to get it out. Thankfully, I have that socket. I only have like 4 of those fucking sockets, and thankfully I have one of them. I bought an old Craftsman kit a long time ago with a bunch of different sizes in here, and apparently the socket is floating around. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Yeah, it is a E12 socket, and it has a reverse Torx. So that right there, I have 4 of them: 10, 12, 14, and 16. And magically, the one on the Jeep is an E12 for some reason. So very grateful I at least had the socket, was able to get it out without really any issues. It actually came out with no issues, which is cool. That's the one I expected to have trouble, and it wasn't. So the one that was the worst one was past that, in the farther corner, which was less accessible to anyone's hands. I found an accessibility spot where if you sit on the motor, you can reach it from behind the top part of the rear of the valve cover, but that's where the bolt, just regardless of accessibility, refused to budge, no matter what I threw at it. We tried a gator even, like one of those like pin pressed one size fits all sockets on there, and that didn't work. We actually sent the socket and just completely obliterated the socket. So rest in peace, gator socket. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some extractors. So I have some things missing on my tool list still to complete in my giant journey of all my tools that I'm working on. But yeah, that, unfortunately, I did not document that entire series. So, but the good thing is that Jeep is done with now. If you guys remember that Jeep at all, if you watched anything in the earlier part of our journey, that has transferred from the backyard days before we were actually opened this shop and started this journey. We bought that with intention of rebuilding that in the backyard. I'm glad we didn't, because that would have an absolute nightmare. But I managed to install that motor myself alone, which was tricky, but thankfully I have years of experience. I can handle doing something like that even alone. But something like that is kind of hard. You want an extra hand sometimes, because like when you're trying to angle the transmission, you want a buddy to try to push the engine or maneuver something in one way while you're trying to hold another. That's very, very tricky to do alone, but thankfully I managed to figure it out. Just perseverance, just absolute determination. So in the end, it turned out very good, and clutch works great, super smooth. We threw a new clutch in there, goes through all the gears like absolute butter. Engine sounds good, good oil pressure, holds temperature, very, very solid, very happy. All we need to do is finish brake work on the Jeep, and she's a ripper. So that catches up at least what you guys missed on that. And then what else happened? Basically, we just gone through some inventory and got rid of some Miatas. Zach bought the silver Miata I rebuilt. And then what? Our black high mileage Miata is gone now. That was bought, and we had the super clean blue Miata we picked up on a road trip. That one sold. both of those sold really quickly. So we are on a new journey at the moment. The only thing we have project that's still hanging around that I'm waiting on parts for it is basically a blue NA race car, because it's very like stripped apart in terms of like just some things here and there. Though it's missing a lot of luxuries. It's definitely more race car oriented. It needs fuel injector seals and whatnot, and then it already was running once really good, but the seals blew. Someone definitely finger fucked it, and the seals blew and couldn't hold pressure. But it did run really good after I fixed it. So I know it's that because I saw cylinder 3 tore, and then I think 2 followed. So definitely got to replace those. I'm gonna lube up the seals, make sure they go in without tearing, and then it should be hopefully back up and running, because that's the only issue at the moment is it can't hold fuel pressure. And then yeah, we should hopefully have this done tomorrow, and we're moving along. Very much excited, and then we still have my own personal projects I have to work on, and then also even one day too, we'll be doing a full build on the 10 AE we have over there, the 60,000 mile one. That's a personal one of ours in the shop. It's gonna get a Happy Meal kit, a whole works, you know, pilot bearing, timing belt, water pump, just like the whole enchilada. We're gonna replace the suspension in it, for the Bilstein suspension in there. Just kind of go pretty much entirely one over on the vehicle. It'll be a good solid daily runner, and then we also need to fix like the small AC leak in there. I think it has a small AC leak. But anyways, that's enough jibber jabbering on all just random shit that has been either I missed because of the hiatus, but also the stuff that I'm working on right now. So catch back the next episode where we go pick up, hopefully, cross our fingers, get the tire machine, and then continue on with the 15,000 mile Miata. So until the next time you guys see us, remember to stay unorthodox. Take care. Bye.